In a world where everyone is looking for your money up front, doesn't it just make sense to check out a podcast that's looking to give you something for free? Like the music for your content and free music for your film and videos? Look no further. It's the Tim Kulig Free Music Podcast.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Kulig from the Tim Kulig Free Music Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Kulig, and this week is super short. We're just going to do a few updates and not even have video because it's been that kind of week and a half. I'm trying to be consistent. The struggle is real. This is getting out late in the day as opposed to noon like I normally do. And I do have a couple other episodes in the tank and scheduled to be recorded. However, the one I have in the tank isn't edited yet, and the other one I was supposed to have recorded actually had to get delayed, and I won't be able to record with that person until the end of the month. So I'll probably have some other episodes in between here, some updates with me and Tom, and also just some general updates. In fact, I might even do a demo coming up in the next few weeks of some of my process, because I've got to have a lot of process coming down the pipeline. So first quarter, managed to knock out the spaghetti western stuff that I've been punting. Finally got that done and published. Had some really good responses to those pieces. I also did Digidreams, which was kind of a synthwave type of thing. I had some good response to that as well. Got a best of together of last year, WYSIWYG Damon's a new Glitch album, which has got some pretty cool experimental things on there. And I also, just under the wire, released Dunescapes. So a total of just about 60 tracks. Very excited about that. I'm on par and on point to hit my target by the end of the year if I can manage to maintain that. So how am I going to do that second, third, and fourth quarter? Well, one of the things I'm going to incorporate into the second quarter is something that I've been kind of putting off for a while. And I think before it was because I didn't think it was going to be super exciting. But now that I see a need for this, I do want to really jump into it. And that's podcast beds. Podcasts in the sense of like, you know, comedic beds, semi-serious beds, horror beds, mysterious beds, that kind of thing. And actually do groups and banks of them in different styles. And then probably do some quick intro, quick outro things with that as well. I'm not sure how it's going to evolve, but I have this kind of rough draft idea in my head, and I'm going to experiment with it and explore, but that's going to help me produce a significant number of pieces because they don't need to be long. They don't need to be super involved or difficult and complex, because I don't want those pieces to battle with somebody that's talking and has a podcast that they have compelling information, and they're probably doing an intro that involves talking a little bit about the podcast or about what the episode's going to be like. And if you have lead pieces that take away from that, that's not great, right? That's counterintuitive to why you have music in the first place. Music is supposed to complement, not take over, you know, something like a podcast. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that, and I'm doing that to the best of my ability. But it also opens up the opportunity to have a large volume of things published at once, because again, you know, I'm making beds. They're not super complicated, they're not super long. And yeah, I think there's definitely a need for it. Looking through the various platforms that I post things to, in addition to my own website, I'm not seeing a lot of curated groups of things like that. So that's definitely something I'm going to dive into, even if I get a partial amount of those released in the second quarter. I'm all over that. So that's definitely a big focus in the second quarter. I already have some tunes in the industrial genre that I'm very excited about. And some of them have some groove to it, but the focus is on kind of the dissonance and weirdness of industrial music. So I need to get another 4 to 6 pieces before I feel confident enough to start really isolating those down and mastering them and getting that album out. But that's going to be somewhere between like 10 and 15 tracks. I want to get back into metal. So metal's on the horizon again. So hopefully I can get 6 to 8 tracks of that in the second quarter. And in addition to all that, I'm looking at revisiting horror, revisiting synthwave a little bit. There's a large demand for my fan base for more synthwave stuff, and in differing subgenres in that, like ones that have arps and stuff in it, and then other ones that are more pad based. So I'm going to play around with that genre a little bit more. Ambient tunes and anything else that strikes my fancy. Third quarter, I'm going to hit meditation again really hard. Some dreamcore, lo-fi. I mean, some of these things kind of blend into each other a little bit, I feel. But, I mean, because dreamcore and lo-fi can feel very meditative if you do them properly. Some short form pieces again, both in the horror and the comedy, area. And I'm going to effort getting some more Christmas tunes out this year. But I think I'm going to try and do some original pieces that have a Christmas vibe. So like modern Christmas music. Not sure the style. Might be lo-fi. Might like lo-fi dreamcore. Might be your typical jazzy Christmas stuff. Or, I don't know, I might experiment a little bit. And I probably should do some light horror this year for the kids. I haven't done that, and I've been wanting to do that, and I have like 1 or 2 pieces sitting on my hard drive that have that vibe, that have like a lighter, more playful, spooky thing going on, and I need to do more of that so that I can appeal to, that that subgenre and everything. And then finally in the fourth quarter, I do have a couple tracks. I literally have like 100 to 150 project files active at any given moment, and right now I just got a bunch of ideas just sitting there waiting for me to do something with. So the fourth quarter is going to be a revisit of a bunch of different genres, and maybe even touching on areas I haven't done before. I talked about doing a polka album last year and never got around to it. So I think I am going to make that a priority before the end of the year. Also, some African drums and just a percussive album that doesn't have any real melodic elements to it other than what the drumming instruments can produce. So that'll be fun. And then pretty much anything else that might come down the pipeline from my fan base as suggestions, I will start adding to the mix, because this is a big year for me. I really, really want to get to 1,000 tracks. There's a psychological milestone with that I feel like I can hit that, and then in the future years, I'm still going to be very aggressive about how I write. I think it's just my nature. When I do something, I go all in and I get real serious about it. And I'm really, really serious about building a catalog and a fan base and, providing good quality music to the people out there that are using it. But once I hit that 1,000, I think the volume is going to be less of an annual requirement for me, and it's going to be more about, okay, how can I expand upon what I've done so far and make the next 1,000 10 times better? What different skill sets and what different, training can I bring to the table to help me bring my music to higher levels each and every time I bring out an album. And that's not to say that I don't already do that. I really effort and try to get to that place every single album I release. But the funny thing about a high volume composition schedule is just that it's such high volume, and we're, as human beings, very pattern beings. We fall into patterns, and I find that I revisit different ideas and different phrasings when I'm doing like a high volume, which is not to say that's a bad thing, because you can take any melody and make dozens of variations of it, and one variation may appeal to somebody, whereas another variation may appeal to a larger and broader audience, and then some of the other ones may explode, or fall on deaf ears. But the end goal with all of that is experimentation and just trying to send a musical message in one way, shape, or form that is going to resonate with the end user, which is ultimately you guys. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a combination of experimentation, training, everything. And that's not to say that like I'm going to pull a, golfing Tiger Woods and like change my, the equivalent of changing my entire stroke and going and not playing for a year and a half and coming back and being a completely different composer. No, not at all. By the contrary, I'm just going to look at different key signatures, different styles of composition, different ways of approaching pieces, so that I can bring a variation to the table that's going to be attractive and interesting to my end user and my end audience. So a lot of that is going to happen probably after I hit this 1,000 mark, but I'm going to start doing some exploration and some research on that this year. It may even start some training. So it may trickle in to some of my pieces in the third and fourth quarter this year. But ultimately that's the big goal. That's the big goal. That and reach. So I'll probably be, I'm not probably, I actually am. I'm up in my game with some help in the coming weeks to really, really get out there and start doing some social media and some content and some promotions that are going to take this journey of mine on hopefully like sub-light to light speed. And I'm very excited about it. It's very much in the preliminary stages, but as the reality of it starts to unfold, I will start to disclose some more things. But very exciting, and I hope you stick around for the ride for it. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give a quick update on the schedule and some of the things coming down the pipeline, and let you know that I'm committed to keeping y'all in the loop and trying to talk to you once a week, whether it's with an interview, whether it's with a demo, or whether it's just a quick catch up like this. I just want to be consistent with that arm of what I'm doing, the podcasting arm as well, because all of this matters, right? You have to, when you're building a brand like this and you're trying to get as many people out there to understand and notice what you're doing, it's really easy to fall off people's radar, even if you just take a few breaths. Like you just can't. You got to keep doing your thing. You got to keep producing, and you got to keep moving forward. And that's the goal this year. And for the next couple decades to come, God willing, I'm a pretty healthy 50-year-old, and am proud of that fact. And I hope to spend another 50 years on this planet producing music for you, people like you. So with that said, love you guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time on the Tim Kulig Free Music Podcast. Take care, guys.